I'm not feeling the greatest. But cold world, that's right. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday. I'm going to try to stay on for my regular hour. If the voice goes, unfortunately, you guys know how this works. If I can't talk, if you can't hear me, then what good is this? So, we're going to try. Ariana, hello, welcome in. Again, Frisbo, welcome in and welcome back. Hit that like button. Um, the first 1,000 and then every 5,000 after. Because of my throat, we'll visit Penelope. But how's everybody doing? Happy Saturday. Guinness, hello, welcome in. Rebsters, hello, hello. How we doing? How we doing? Guys, don't be shy in the chat. Let me know how your Saturday's going. Once we get a few more people in here, we will get the conversation going. Until then, we're not letting them steal our joy. What's up, Ryan, over on the tube that use? Um, guys, yeah, I know I sound like a fucking, like the Loch Ness Monster probably, but we're still here. Dude, everyone is saying that even after it's released, Ryan, the day's going, okay, I woke up with no voice. I have this so far. Hopefully it'll get better. I just took a really hot shower. Did not work. But hey, we're all here together. And in 2026, what are they not stealing? They're not stealing our fucking joy. So later I'm going to go spend some time with some friends and try to find the whimsy in life. But how's everyone's weekend going? Again, don't be shy in the comments. Keep hitting that like button. And we're going to try to be on for at least an hour. But again, if the voice goes, as do I. That's just the way this works. Um, I do think it's significant in bringing up Renee Good that frozen water incidents such as hers um, and CPB, which we know have already I have to follow guidelines when I say this. What's up, Ryan? Thanks for doing the dual stream with me. Um, they have discharged their firearms already, injuring or unaliving 3 people in 2026. In 2025, total that were reported at least 8. So we are 11 or 10 days into the new year, and we have almost reached half of that already. Red, white, and what the fuck? That's a good question. Exactly, because it doesn't matter what side you're on, because this isn't a right versus a left kind of channel. It's a power versus the people. And I feel like every time we pull up any type of news media, whether that's here on TikTok, whether it's independent sources, whether it's legacy media, mainstream media, whatever, it's you just ask, what the fuck? But yes, please hit follow and share. Um, Tony, thank you so much for the roses. I really do appreciate it. Katie Kate, what's up? Welcome in. How we doing? Carol, hello, hello. Nuke, how we doing? But as more people trickle in, there's one thing that's not getting the attention that it needs to, and that's by design. As we talk about, they're gonna, they want to flood the zone. Both sides participate in this. But right now, the leader of this country made this statement. His words, not mine. We may have to make a choice between preserving NATO and capturing Greenland. What? So there's a few things I want to talk about in this as my voice will allow. Before I start, let's give some hydration to the vocal cords, I guess. So the first thing is the verbiage. Because just this past week, thank you so much, Sitter, for the heart me and welcome in. Marianne. Jolena, hello. Whew, I'm struggling today, guys. First thing I want to talk about is the verbiage. Because we always talk about how we need to also consider and hold true the intent of things. And he said capture. Within the past 7 days, Marco Rubio has said, no, we're not going to talk about military action. No, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to offer each citizen $10,000 to $100,000. That would never work, first of all. Second of all, President just said that's a lie. So let's talk about now what would happen if we did capture Greenland, which I don't think we should, for the record. You're going to destabilize not only Europe, but Arctic security, global trade routes, and every single alliance that the U.S. now holds. So if you're wondering, if you haven't been, paying attention to the Greenland situation, because we do have things here domestically that it's hard to keep focus on an international scale, again by design. Rare earth minerals. That's it. That's why. So, wait, hold on. I missed Tony. I missed your great question. Give me 1 second. You're wrong. You're overreacting. Sure. What the fuck is this fascination with Greenland? In what realm are we entitled? We're not. That's the thing. We're not entitled to Greenland. Even Denmark has said that if we show force towards Greenland, they're basically gonna. I mean, they're gonna meet it with the way. What am I mad about? A lot, truthfully. But let's talk about NATO in general. So if you didn't know, these are the countries that are now in NATO. The US, obviously, Canada, our neighbors to the north, United Kingdom, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Italy, Portugal, Denmark, Norway, Iceland, Greece, Turkey, Germany, Spain, the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Slovenia, Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, Albania, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Finland, and Sweden. Now, when considering that, of course, the patriot Americans are going to say, well, the US has the biggest military, like we're fine, we don't need them. Strength does not exist in isolation. So let's break this down because Article 5 of the NATO agreement means an attack on one is an attack on all. So if we attack a NATO nation, we are not only leaving NATO, they consider that attack to every single country that I just named off, including our neighbors to the north, who have already said that they are preparing for a near peer conflict. So again, yes, it seems like we're all alone, right? Why? Because we are. If we leave NATO, we are all alone. Who are we going to depend on? Russia, who is allies with Iran and Venezuela, who are both threatening / actively attacking. So who's left? Who's left? Izzy, who we're Israel's bitch. Let's be honest. Our government has been sold to the Israeli government. Now, me saying that is not anti Semitic because I'm not talking about Jewish people. I am talking about the government of Israel. Venezuela is not ours, you dumb fuck. The United States is NATO, yes. I understand that, but they are saying they will still hold their agreements and treat that as an attack to all of those countries. Without us, there is no NATO. So you really think all those countries can't form an alliance? That's the craziest shit I've ever fucking heard. He's literally threatening our neighbors to the south, Mexico. We're going to leave our ally to the north, Canada, if we leave NATO. This should never even be a question. Stay the fuck out of Greenland. Do we actually have a government? A government as we should know. Government actors, yes, on both sides. Because this is not a right or a left channel. This is a channel that focuses on power versus the people. And right now, the power has their boot on the people's neck, and it's not fucking okay. Matt, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Eden, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Like, if everyone in the world hates you, even if you are the strongest military in the world, that's like say you are the strongest person in your town. You walk into a bar and you know, have an act of violence, which I do not recommend. This is all hypothetical, towards one person. But that one person is friends with every single person at that bar. It doesn't matter how big or strong you are, you're gonna get your ass beat. Plain and fucking simple. Plain and fucking simple. This is exactly how nations crumble. That is so beautifully put. Thank you so much for that. Everyone does hate us, absolutely. But right now, we are still in compliance with NATO. He wants to leave that. NATO is our protection. It doesn't matter if we are one of the founding members. It doesn't matter if NATO is strictly on us. They have said they will keep their alliances to each other. Plain and fucking simple. Plain and simple. And this isn't me saying, I fucking hate America. No. I want better for America. I want better leadership for America from both sides. Because both sides, again, pardon my voice, guys, both sides are bought and paid for by super PACs. So who the fuck is representing the American people? Nobody. Nobody. The only people that are going to represent us and represent us well are the people. And that doesn't mean I'm advocating for a violent overthrow of the government or some overnight, resistance. No, I believe in micro change. I believe we start at a community level. I'm not the type to lead a revolution. I'm not saying they haven't been necessary in the past. I'm not saying they're not necessary now. It's just not my way of thinking. If you disagree, that's totally fine. I'm open to foster that conversation. However, when you come at these with these, if you take one situation without considering the nuance of everything, that is how countries crumble. It's like we're a third world country with a Gucci belt. Plain and fucking simple. I have no idea what's going on. You would completely understand. What? What the fuck are you even talking about? Like, we're in amazing shape. It's not my way of thinking. I don't think at all. Ooh, what a good comeback. I didn't just literally point out every weakness in that way of thinking. A weird thought, but it's yours to have. Dude, if he's going to be in charge of it, I just hope we're in the blast zone. I just hope we're in the blast zone, plain and simple. And guys, we are at 5K. I'm going to make my Penelope visit. Let me just treat the vocal cords real quick. All right, here we go. Thank you guys for the follow, by the way. I don't think we're in great shape either. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse. I don't know if you guys saw the extremist. His name is Jason something. But I believe he was in Minneapolis. And literally said some QAnon fucking bullshit. The storm is coming. And literally said, which was true, exactly what happened. He said yesterday he was talking on terms of frozen water and frozen water supporters that they executed one of us yesterday. Now, his phrasing, again, is intentional because what happened was an execution. It was deliberate. Plain and fucking simple. How do these make people still think they have a leg to stand on morally? Because they have no fucking morals because they're brainwashed. I'm not saying the morals don't exist inside, but I'm saying there's a big buffer between their current way of thinking and their true morality, I think. I'm not saying people can't be saved. I'm not saying people can't change their mind, but it's getting harder and harder by the day. For sure. Interesting. Interesting. Wait, what the fuck are you even talking? Hold on. Let's go to war and see the left yell and scream at Russia or China. Why would you want a war? Legends right now, we're kind of discussing just like the nuance of the current administration and how critical thinking skills will serve you well during this time. And if we just flip back to just a few days ago, we'll talk all about how anti intellectualism is a part of fascism, and it has been throughout all of history. For example, last week, or maybe it was earlier this week, may have been earlier this week, the board that sits for Corporation of Public Broadcasting voted to dissolve. Now, public broadcasting, they reach 90 to 95% of the US population through like more than 1,500 local stations. 40% of public radio stations serve rural communities. So many of these operate on margins that rely up to 25%, up to a quarter of their funding is from CBP. Now, when people hear CBP, they just go ahead and they think, oh, this is a media story. It's not. Because, one, it's not really saving that much money. They had a federal appropriation of approximately 335 million. I mean, 535 million. Apologies, 535. That averages out roughly to $1.60 per person in America per year. Yeah. So all of these rural areas that don't have a lot of options for internet, that have poor cell phone service, these rural stations are how they get their weather alerts, their evacuation notices, their emergency alerts, all of that. These are timely things that need to happen on time. That need to happen. The quicker, the better. It saves lives. People can lose their lives because of this decision. Not to mention the fact, and this is where we get into the anti intellectualism and how it runs parallel and often accompanies fascism or authoritarianism, is PBS. PBS Kids is the #1 educational media brand for children here in the States. Studies have already shown that PBS Kids viewers have significantly higher early literacy and math readiness, particularly for low income families without paid alternatives. What does that mean? For me, I grew up in poverty. You guys know a little bit of my story. I was a food stamps kid, I was a Head Start kid, I was a PBS kid. But I always did really well in school because of things like this. I'm proven I wouldn't be here without that. Now, how does this feed into anti intellectualism? Well, it ruins critical thinking skills and critical thinking development at earlier and earlier stages. We all know that they say kids' brains are like sponges, right? They soak everything up. That's why you want to get them in athletics. That's why you want to teach them different languages. You want to teach them early. It's easier for them. When you stop that at such an early level, you stop the resistance at such an early level. And if you want to see real life examples, don't worry. Germany in the 30s, they purged teachers and professors. They banned books. They replaced public education with propaganda. Why? To eliminate early critical thinking skills. Spain, from 35 to about 75, Franco defunded public education and censored media. He framed intellectuals, journalists, and educators as a threat to national unity. Now, notice, if I were in those times, they would have spoken about me this way. I've talked about nothing but unity the whole time. I've talked about how I don't want violence. I don't want to overthrow anything. I want change from within. Then you want another example in the 70s in Chile. They shut down public broadcasting and university radio, and they replaced them with regime friendly outlets to control the narrative and to suppress dissent. This all goes hand in hand, and it's right in front of us. And if you want a short read, if you don't believe me, there are many authors who have, and scientists and historians who have this well documented. But one book I always recommend is On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. You can literally get it online, wherever, local bookstore, less than $15. It's 126 pages, not even a full size book. Um, for example, I'll show you my planner. Like, not even a full size book. I read this in a day. This was written during Dipey Don's first term, and it says everything that's happening today. Follow the history. It may not repeat, but it sure as fuck rhymes. Trump said it best. He loves the uneducated. He absolutely said that, and thank you so much for bringing that up. And guys, I know we're at 10K. I'm finally about to visit Penelope. Here we go. Give me about 5 seconds. I'm tired of everything. Oh, you're literally hearing me like switch around my pleather seat because I'm poor and have an Amazon chair, whatever. Okay, but here's the thing, right? You say we need to start using our Second Amendment. Well, a lot of people, I will say, that are protesting right now, it's not that they want to abolish the Second Amendment, but they definitely don't want everyone concealed carry. It statistically increases the probability that you those around you will be unaligned by a pew pew. That's just, it's common sense, right? And so then we're going to talk about Keith Porter. This is a situation that happened here in California on the 31st, where an off duty ICE agent, unalived, what they called an active shooter with no body cam. There's no real evidence. They're not charging him at all. And a man is unalived. Now, they said he was pew pewing a new gift in the air to celebrate ringing in. Do I think this is a smart choice? No. Personally, no. Do I think it's a choice that should lead to loss of life? Again, no. Because you can't say, oh, they're trying to take our pew pews, and then when someone uses a pew pew and doesn't injure anyone else, say, well, he shouldn't have done that. When accidental pew pewings go off all the time, you're like, oh, it was their Second Amendment right, though. Those two things don't fucking go together. They also, of course, Angela, they also, what I found interesting, and I like to use real life examples. A lot of you know I used to be a respiratory care practitioner here in San Diego. That means, given my qualifications, if I were to see an emergency happen in real life, normally I would respond. There are certain instances where you can't. For example, Were I intoxicated? And I responded, if I were to injure that person more, or could in any way be found liable to their unaliving by my involvement, I lose my medical license. They would test me for substances. Absolutely. As they should. As they fucking should. Where's the substance test for this off duty ICE? Oh, wait, there's not one. There's no fucking evidence and they're not doing shit. So fuck you, LAPD. What would happen if it was a white man in a red MAGA hat? Exactly. Fucking exactly. They would say, well, that's his Second Amendment right. And that should have never fucking happened. But they won't do that because it wasn't. Plain and fucking simple. Just like they want to say that Renee Good was using her car as a weapon when that's not true. We saw the video. They even released the cell phone video, which I do want to point out. You see the officer recording on his cell phone. One, where's the body cam? Is my question. Two, you see him switch from his right hand to his left. Now, statistically, most people are right-handed, which means his holster was on his right. That's premeditation before that car never fucking moved. Pre-fucking meditation, which goes into what that fucking QAnon bozo Jason was calling it, an execution, although he said it with pride. Then what you see get unsteady, it's not the human. It is the hand holding the phone because he dropped the fucking phone to put both hands on his firearm. Plain and fucking simple. That was premeditation at its finest. And then after he unalived a fucking mother of 3, he called her a fucking bitch. Yeah. So go watch those videos. Tell me what you see. Tell me why he aimed it at her head and not the fucking vehicle tires as he should have been trained. And tell me why this happens if you're going to say, well, maybe he didn't have enough training. Why did they just lower the number of days to complete your ICE training, which is now 47? 47. People have to train longer to cut your fucking hair. And I'm not using that as an example because it's not as stressful, but I'm saying because if you cut someone's hair wrong, they don't lose their life. If you perform your job wrong in a situation where you carry a firearm, people very fucking regularly here in this fucking country lose their goddamn lives. And it is not okay. And it is 100% preventable. And I will say the same thing about Renee Good as I will say about Keith Porter, as I will fucking say about CK. It was 100% preventable and should have never fucking happened. Doesn't matter if I agree with what they were doing, how they did it, it never should have happened. And if we had stricter regulations in this country on those pew-pews, it wouldn't have. Plain and fucking simple. You should have 1 year of at least 1 year of training. At fucking least. They want to always compare them and then we have a fucking VP that says that federal officers have absolute immunity. While at the same time as, Puny Peen Pete is trying to dock Mark Kelly, who simply spoke words on a video, true words, saying if you receive an illegal or unlawful order, you should not follow it. That is a fact. That is a fact across many fucking professions, not just military. And you want to call that sedition and call him in and then call someone brutally unaliving someone and calling her a fucking bitch. He's a national hero. Get fucked. Absolute immunity is not a thing because absolute immunity means you are above the law and no one in America is supposed to be able to operate above the law. Am I saying that no one in America does operate above the law? Absolutely not. But if we are strictly speaking from a legal standpoint, no motherfucker in this country is supposed to be above the law. Not fucking one. Now I'm going to rest my voice for a second. So go ahead, troll on in the comments. Sarah, thank you so much. Welcome in, welcome in. Oh, I don't know how long the voice is going to last, but we're going to keep it going. Saying absolute immunity was not only reckless, because in the same day, it was intentional. And here's why I say this. In the same day, he literally said that ICE will be going from door to door. He slipped that in. You know who else went door to door? in history's past, since we were speaking from historical standpoints earlier to kind of round this about, they wore brown shirts. So just look that up. We should take pew pew rights from city people that make you happy. I don't think the location has anything to do with it because, again, Keith Porter, it was LAPD responding. It's it's not about whether it happens in more of an urban environment, more of a rural environment. It shouldn't be happening. Now, you're going to say, "Oh, this girl, she's such a radical leftist." Well, here's my political beliefs. I believe anyone should be able to do anything they want, as long as it does not harm or unalive anyone or anything, or impede on or take away the rights of others. I also think that food, housing, education, and healthcare should be affordable and accessible. Notice I didn't say shit about open borders. Notice I didn't say shit about free handouts or not working and living in mansions and being rich. No. I just don't think if I work 40 hours a week, I should have to struggle to pay bills and be one medical emergency away from bankruptcy. I don't think anyone should. Plain and simple. What about that thought is so radical to you? Truthfully, I'm honestly curious about it. Exactly. Exactly, Tony. Because the training says in those situations, you go for the tires. So nerd alert, when I go, I have to pay 500, but that's not like an all covering thing. And I thought it was back. It's been probably 2 years now, almost 2 years. I had a motorcycle accident. It was when I was an RT. I went to my hospital, the hospital I receive insurance from. They know who I am. They know I'm an employee. I literally worked in the ER I went to. Yet I paid my 150 because with that insurance it was 150. Paid it up front. I was like, whatever, it's fine. And then I got a bill. I saw that doctor who wasn't even from the hospital I worked at. Um, he saw me for 5 minutes maximum. Didn't like even put on gloves to assess anything. When his first words walking in that room was, "Is that a bone sticking out of your ankle?" He wanted to give me crutches to work in an ICU and give me no time off work where there are vital lines and like crutches. You can literally unalive someone unintentionally that way by just pulling a line. And I got charged $900 that was not covered by my insurance by a physician I saw in an emergency room where I worked at a hospital that I received insurance from. That's a problem in our country. That's a huge fucking problem. Plain and fucking simple, guys. We're already at 17,000 likes. Thank you guys so much. I think I can make it to the top of the hour. I have multiple hydration sources around, but the cords are going, guys. I may not go live tomorrow. I might just do a post. Because Mondays are soft opening at the facility I've been opening this week. Stace, thank you so much for the follow. It's getting hard though, guys. Do I let guests come up? Tony, so I used to, and then I got hacked for a couple months. When I came back, the algorithm had shifted. So would the viewers that wanted to come up. Before people would come up, there'd be a few trolls, nothing too crazy. But we would foster just a conversation. It wasn't a debate topic, it was nothing like that. But now they'll come up and they just say the most out of pocket shit to purposely get your page in trouble, and then they run away. So, to alleviate this, because I've been told by people a lot in my life that no, we didn't. Candace, please say we didn't. Oh my God. Those files must be crazy. Those files must be fucking crazy. But I know you guys like it when I have like person to person conversation. And that's why we're doing a docu-series where I'm about to travel all over the country this year. We're going to release 4 episodes, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes a piece, so not a big part of your day when it does come out. It's going to be on YouTube absolutely for free. And it's going to tackle the juxtaposition of mindsets with Thank you so much. I've never received one of those before. Thank you so much, Broken in Pieces. Um, it's going to tackle the juxtaposition of Americans. For example, I'm going to start, and this was premeditated. This was before the tragedy, the mass shooting that took place in Salt Lake City this week. Um, but I'm going to go to the History of Church Museum. I'm going to see how institutionalized religion still recognizes their freedom in this country. And then I'm going to a queer bar called the Sun Trap. Not because it's a queer bar and I'm queer, but because they have rebuilt over, extreme weather, different ownerships, and just recently they've started to strike. And they became one of the first LGBTQ plus organized or unionized bars in the country. So it's going to be about all about how institutional religion is the juxtaposition of community action, and they live together simultaneously. And there is freedom in that, even if it's uncomfortable. And I want to see how those people find freedom where most people looking from the outside thinks it looks like a very repressive place, if you're not well educated on it. I thought that as well. And so that's if you want to see me interacting in person, people to people, it's coming. March 10th. It's my birthday. It's the year mark of Red, White, and WTF. And I hope it's a success. We'll see. But just so you all are aware. So please, if you're interested in that, follow me here. Also follow me over on the tube that use because I do post over there. And all my lives, we're live on there right now too. They record. If you ever miss one, you can just go back, watch it again. At 20, oh, thank you so much, Tony, for the floating octopus. At 20K, I'll visit Penelope. The throat's going, guys. It's starting to. I'm suffering, but we're gonna try to push through. Ugh. Oh, also, Sarah, if you're still in here, thank you for your help at the facility this week. I appreciated everybody that was there to help because there's still a lot to do, but we can at least open on Monday, and that was in question Wednesday morning. So it is what it is. And we're at 20, so here we go. Thank you so much, Tony, for the follow. And guys, this really isn't helping my throat, which is why I'm limiting it to every 5 to 10K likes. Whew, that really hurts. Mm-mm. Candace, no, not at all. You're good. You weren't interrupting anything. These are normally a pretty free-flowing thing. Lately, I've just noticed I'm better at writing things down, which is I literally write so much shit down all the time. I'm just visual. So I promise you are A-okay. I hope to see you in here more. I hope to see you all in here. I know that right now times are they're fucking bleak. They're really fucking bleak, guys. I get it. But we have to have, and I'm stealing this from someone I saw a post. I don't remember the user because it was just words on a screen. But it sat with me and it basically said, this is paraphrasing, the way we make it out of this is having a firm but equal grip on our whimsy and our political rage. And it's the truth. It absolutely is. They can't steal our joy because they'll get away with so much more and they know that. That's why they flood the zone. That's why you don't see positive headlines. But I have some for you. Depending. I found them amusing. One is that because it's just so Philly. Go Birds, by the way. Hopefully we're about to go beat the Niners. Um Philly sheriff said if ICE wants to come to Philly and commit the same type of crimes they've been committing in other areas, if you know, we were just talking about it, that they don't want the smoke because Philly will bring it. And hearing that right there, it was good in my heart. Here's another one from yesterday. Give me 1 second. Wait, where'd he go? Oh, Jack Smith. He's going to get to testify publicly. That's a huge thing, guys. He is going to get to testify publicly, which means we're going to hear a lot of stuff. I'm ready for the tea. Um, House Republicans this week joined House Democrats to pass a bill that would, if the Senate approves, um, extend ACA subsidies. Now, a lot of people are saying this is about midterms, and it probably is, but two things can be true at once. Subsidies can get extended, and we can still trust action over words. If you know, you know. Because here's the thing, it's not right versus left. They're both corrupt as fuck. I'm not saying there's not one good politician out there, but I think the longer you're in politics, the more corrupt you statistically become. We've just seen it time after time. It's pattern recognition at this point, which is why we don't need career politicians. They don't need to be so incentivized to keep doing this because eventually they start making laws for a country in which they no longer see is going on. Because your life changes once you get to that level. You don't have the same motivations as you once did. You become a different person. And growth is a part of everyone's life. So is regression. But when it affects the country needs to intervene in ways of policies and in regulation. Plain and simple. What about that I said was so radical? Because I still get called to this day a radical leftist lunatic when I'm just as mad that 30% of America, according to polls, is still so fucking brainwashed. And they're being used and abused while being brainwashed. That pisses me off, both at them and for them. You can share those two truths as well. Because another thing that I think 2026 has to be about going into elections and midterms is holding two truths, is living in duality. And I don't mean duality in some like metaphysical standpoint, although we can get into that on another day. But you can vote for a candidate, even if that candidate is the lesser of both evils, but will do less harm. Plain and simple, right? Did I agree with absolutely everything that Bill Clinton, Obama, Biden, Kamala, did I agree with absolutely everything with them? No. There was a lot I didn't agree with. But there were things that I did agree with more. And with those in office, less people lost their lives due to autonomy restrictions, whatever that may be. Whether it's gay marriage with Obama, that Kim Davis has repeatedly tried and failed, by the way. That fucking freak that has been married 4 different times to 3 different men, but wants to be, she's the Speaker of the House for the sanctity of marriage, apparently. Um, I didn't have to worry about having access to AB if I were to be a victim of SA, which I have been a victim of SA before. Thankfully, it did not result in a pregnancy from that. But if it would have, with those leaders in charge, I could have had the choice. And maybe my choice would have been to keep that person, that clump of cells growing inside me. Maybe I would have said, you know what? That's my choice. But the point is, I would have had a choice. The administration right now specifically, they don't want anyone to have true choices. They sell you the illusion of choice when it's just manipulation. Plain and simple. Third Eye Prophecy, thank you so much for the gifts, for everything, for being here. I appreciate you. And I don't think any of what I just said is that radical. I think it's unhealthy to agree with 100% with anyone, even if it's your best friend. If you guys agree 100% on everything you do in your lives, in that relational aspect, probably codependency. But when it's someone in a position of authority, it becomes a cult. Plain and simple. And that cult, the thing is, it's not tied to the party. This could have happened on either side because there are extremists on both sides. That's how a spectrum exists. And by saying that you can register as independent, Republican, or Democrat, they are establishing that spectrums do exist and that not everything in life is binary, although they would like you to think that human human forms in terms of binary doesn't exist. So fucking weird. But I digress. If there's anything specifically you guys want to talk about in the comments, let me know. Another good thing, Spotify confirms, I guess apparently, this is gonna sound douchey. I just pay for Spotify Premium. I got a good deal on it. I don't pay full price, but I don't have ads, so I didn't see this. But apparently, before there were ICE recruitment ads, Spotify confirms they have completely taken them off the app. So, whether you agree or not with everything Spotify does, I think this is a good thing. Also, shout out to the Hilton franchise owner, not the Hilton franchise, the Hilton franchise owner that canceled all those hotel resis. You're a real one. You're a real one. Let's see. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Oh, so apparently when the House passes that, so it was a 3-year ACA subsidy extension, and 17 Republican um, lawmakers voted in favor of it. 17. It's pretty phenomenal. Is on the National Parks Pass now. Why is his face on there? That is so fucking. Look at any authoritarian regime or fascist regime, current or past. They plaster their fucking face everywhere. Everywhere. There is one thing I want to touch on while my voice still barely allows. I do want to remind everyone of their First Amendment rights, their Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights as well. Please look those up. And I know we live in a time where we feel like we're not heard as the American people because our politicians don't properly represent us. That's what leads us to feel this way. And in that First Amendment right is your right to assemble. Please stay peaceful if you do. Stay safe. If you see an agitator from either side, it doesn't fucking matter. You are not there to agitate. You are there to show unity. You are there to call for justice. If you see an agitator, you pull the same shit they did when they were protesting Vietnam. You sit down and you point them out. You shame them into submission. And they leave. I've watched it happen right here in San Diego. They leave, they back down. Because when it's hundreds just staring at you being a complete fucking asshole, most people, they can't take that. They stop. Need to save our parks before they're sold to billionaires. Matt, I absolutely agree. Can we do that in time? Probably not. Probably not. But I agree. But please, yeah, if you're going to go out and make your voice heard, that is your First Amendment right. Also know your Fourth and your Fifth. How about you just go read it? Go read them all. Print it out. Have a visual aid. Um, just know that violent uprisings are not going to get us anywhere right now. Please keep optics in mind. If you're going to go, go with the love in your heart of this country and that you want better for it, and wrap your ass in a fucking American flag. Because that's just as good as a bulletproof vest right now. Why? Because if the worst thing happens, because you do accept risk going to these protests, unfortunately, we do have to acknowledge that. It can be all right and we still accept risk. Doesn't mean it's okay. It means we know that that risk is there. The optics of someone protesting peacefully, being unalived by enforcement, you cannot fight that optic. You can't. So please, if you're going to go to these, I'm not saying don't. I'm saying be observant. Sit and fucking point at agitators. Sit and point. Works with officers too sometimes, by the way. And just be like the Portland Frogs, right? Be like the Portland Frogs. This is what I'm sharing over here on TikTok, YouTube, just so you can see that as well. Because that was peaceful, completely peaceful, and it was effective. Why? Because of fucking optics. Them singing last night after the Philly sheriff, which I'm glad she said this, says, I still want the smoke because we'll bring it. But then you see people gathered by the thousands in Philly last night singing together, mourning together. Those optics are fucking powerful. Also, rest in peace to Keith Porter. Rest in peace to anyone who has been a victim of frozen water or adjacent fields of work. Plain and simple. A life note to self, but it's probably not great background music. We'll do that one. But yeah, no, what's happening right now, it's going to be easy to be sad. It's the easiest thing. It's going to be harder to find happiness, but just because it's harder does not mean happiness is not there. Thank you so much, Gogo. I really, really, really appreciate it. What? Hold on, guys. Before we go, I gotta check something out. I need to look this up. Has anyone seen, apparently on Thursday, in the Queens, it says pro Palestinian protesters chanted, say it loud, say it clear, we support Hamas, in front of a synagogue. Has anyone else seen that? This seems this seems kind of weird. That's that's really fucking weird. To say Hamas specifically, that just sounds weird. Frozen water needs to have at least 1 year of training before they are handed a pew pew. And then 1 year later before they can use that pew pew on the job. Because I'll tell you what, most of you know I'm a veteran. Um, so obviously we train with pew pews. We did not get near enough training. We seriously didn't. That needs to be that needs to be changed. I'm just saying because the people that they said were allowed to use them, no. One of them broke blue, which means they fired across the range into someone else's lane, and literally they still let them graduate boot camp, dude. What the fuck? That's crazy. I don't, because I'll say one thing, I do not support Hamas, but I don't support the genocide going on in Palestine. And again, duality, plain and simple. Guys, we got about 6 minutes left on here. When I get to 30,000, I'll visit Penelope again. I gotta chug some water though. Ugh, she's going. Whew, my throat hurts so bad. Okay, I need to find this because I can't. About Syria. I see your comment, Ryan. What's the reason they've given so far? Take me to fucking. Oh my god. Are you fucking serious? Because it's ISIS again all of a sudden. Notice we didn't really hear about ISIS for the longest time, and now it's that much easier to just use them as an excuse. And this is someone, my first deployment was 2014 into 2015. We pulled into Aqaba, Jordan. You're literally, it's in like a cul-de-sac. And they have ISIS watches on the hills. And I still say what I just fucking said. They're using it as a fucking excuse. This is just so fucked up. And it makes what they're saying was AI of Donald Trump yelling about the files and Marjorie Taylor Greene, them saying it was AI. He literally said in that AI that he doesn't fucking care, or he doesn't care start a fucking war. I did also hear him earlier. I think this was from yesterday. He said that he's put out 8.25 wars. 8.25. That was his number. Please look that up if you need a laugh, because you literally see him say it. Evening. Thanks for doing these lives. Alex, I'm really trying. Voice is struggling right now, but we got 3 more minutes, so we're going to try to get. I want to say 35,000. I was like, what the fuck did he say? And Ryan, that's why you're here on Red, White, and What the Fuck, because I literally said, what the fuck did he say too? I said the same fucking thing. But we are at 30K. Let me visit Penelope. Ugh, this is gonna hurt. Also, if you're gonna go out and make your voice heard, as we've said, remain peaceful. Don't initiate an agitation. Sit in point. Write down your numbers that you need. Don't take what you don't need to have. Dress warmly. Especially if you have cold winds. Be sure to cover your face so your cheeks don't get chapped. You know what I'm saying? And that's right, film it all. And if you want to go the extra step when you film it all, of course. Oh, because mine are already in my bag. Take a memory card. If you're going to film on your phone, take a fucking memory card. If you get something that is significant, I want you to stop what you're doing. You put it on that fucking memory card. And then you send it to an email that you've never told anybody about. And then, after you've deleted that sent email, take that memory card out, go back to what you were doing. Just safety tips for living in America. But absolutely. But I appreciate you guys so, so much. We already got to 32,000. We still got a minute left. Thank you guys all for the likes, the gifts, for dealing with my. God, it sounds like I'm possessed or something with my throat. But thank you so much for it. I really do appreciate it. There are rumored to be events I may be attending tomorrow. If I do, I'll try to get some interviews if my voice allows. If not, I don't know what we're going to do because I got to get it back. But thank you guys so, so much. I love you all. We're about to be at 33,000 before it hits 2 o'clock. That's incredible. That's incredible. Thank you over on YouTube as well. Ryan, thank you for doing both. I literally could not do it without you. So, and just a reminder, if this is your first time here, I'm Red, White, and WTF. I'm Dana. And all of these lives go over and save on my YouTube right here if you ever want to backtrack or if you ever miss one. But I appreciate you all. Go. Thank you for the hand hearts. Have a great day. Find one thing that gives you joy today. And tomorrow, try to find two. And replay that before you go to bed. Go to sleep thinking about the joy. It's going to be that much easier to find again. You're not alone in this fight, even though it feels isolating. We're always going to be here. Thank you guys so, so much. If I have a voice, I will see you guys tomorrow. I will let you know my story, so hit that follow if you haven't already so you get the updates. But until then, be safe. Let your voices be heard. All right, YouTube, that's it for us as well. Again, sorry about the voice. Not my finest work, but we tried. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.